Hello everyone, this is Sahil Abdul Qadir from JISA International Fire and Safety Academy. Welcome to our video. Today we are going to talk about a really important thing, and most of the time we just miss out these things, but still this is really important when it comes to real life, your workplace. This is really important. So let's talk about this. Today we are asking you a question: that can your risk assessment save lives? Because that's what your risk assessment is for, right? Because it's not just a sheet of paper, it's not just for formality, right? It's not about production, it's about safety of workers. So so for safety of workers, you first identify hazard. Risk assessment is about identification of the hazard, and then you try to implement control measures. You assess or you evaluate how much effective that those implementations are, and you measure the performance, right? And then you review and update. All these things comes under your risk assessment. So we are going to see that how your risk assessment can be effective, how much your risk assessment is effective, and if not, how you can make it more effective. Okay, so now we start with the basic procedure of risk assessment. When you create or when you make a risk assessment, you follow basics 5 steps that obviously you must have heard about. Basic 5 steps. That is, the first step is hazard identification. If you are going to you want to implement control measures, then you need to identify hazard. So first step was your identification of hazard. Then you must know that who is under the harm, right? Who is under the risk. So, and how the accidents can occur, how that hazards can harm your workers, right? That was the second step. Then third step, you evaluate the risks, you decide on the precautions measure. Are they really effective or not? Or if you want some additional precautionary measures, then you can take that. Then you record the findings. Recording the findings is an really important step, because when you record it, okay, it is like, yeah, it is next time when you look at it, when you review it, you can update it. Okay, so these are the last 2 points, right? Recording the findings and implementing them, and then you review and update whenever necessary or whenever it is required. But these 5 steps are basics, like a requirement for your risk assessment. But it doesn't tells you that this five steps, if you do risk assessment according to this, your risk assessment is guaranteed to be effective. No, there's no guarantee that this type of risk assessment that you create is effective. So how can we make our risk assessment effective? So one more question: are these steps enough to make your risk assessment effective? The answer to that question is absolutely no. Why? Because we if we want our risk assessment to be effective, then risk assessment, most importantly, must be suitable and sufficient. What does it mean by suitable and sufficient? Suitable means, make sure your risk assessment is realistic, right? It should not be completely based on your imagination or based on what you predict, right? So make sure that your risk assessment reflects the real conditions of your workplace. That is suitable. Of course, if you're working in a chemical company, then your risk assessment should be according to that. If you're working in a construction company, then according to those hazards. Different workplace has different types of hazards. Okay, so your risk assessment must reflect that conditions firstly, so that will make it suitable. But there are more things that require to to make your risk assessment suitable, so we will see it. So that means your risk assessment must not totally be carried out based on your imaginations, right? As I already told you. So the effectiveness of your risk assessment will depend on the competency, right? Competency means the person who has adequate knowledge, adequate good experience in that field, and skills. He has good skills and perceptions as well, because as the more the person is experienced, the more good risk perception. I'm talking about risk perception. So that risk perception of that person will be more up to certain really good level, right? So competency is required. Someone who is doing, or someone who is doing risk assessment, the person who is known as risk assessor must be a competent person first of all, right? Because and yes, of course, that person will not himself do the whole risk assessment. Of course, he will bring out some people, some call out some for some technical people, and then of course worker representatives and all, and they will decide on about they will decide and discuss about the risk, the hazards, and everything else. So it's a big process. Okay, then the next part that we are going to cover is and what does it means by sufficient. Being sufficient means, first we have seen that about the suitable part. Now we will talk about sufficient part, right? What will you require to be sufficient? Now you know the next step, the second step of the risk assessment is who might be harmed and how. So you have to choose people, you have to select, you have to look out around for people who might get harmed from the work which is being carried out at your workplace. So now you will be deciding who might be harmed. So for that, you must also include specific groups of people, such as the maintenance people, the maintenance person who is not who does not work regularly on the site. He has less exposure to the workplace, and many housekeeping people and all those things. So all those people. So you have to include all those people to make your risk assessment sufficient, right? And another thing is your risk assessment must cover a specific area. Your one risk assessment can't cover the whole industrial area or the whole workplace. So it will not be sufficient for your whole workplace. So that means you have to concentrate, you have to focus on a specific area of your workplace in order to make your workplace sufficient, right? Okay, now let's come directly to the point. We will talk about how we will develop these type of skills. What should we do to learn all these skills, and what should we do to make our risk assessment suitable and sufficient, right? So what will you need to do to learn that? First option is you can go and search for books. You can read books, you can read different books. There are so many books about on occupational health and safety, so you can read that. But that's not a good choice, that's not a good option, right? Second thing is you can do more courses on occupational health and safety, but still that won't help you that much, so no for that. Okay, and the third point is you can just leave it aside. You can think that no, it's not that much important, you're making risk assessment, that's enough. So last option is definitely no. Okay, you have to learn to make your risk assessment effective. That's really important because your risk assessment will save lives. So this is important. Now, as we have talked about you will require, what skills you will need to make your risk assessment suitable and sufficient. Now, let's talk about the program that we provide. Okay. Now, as you know that GIFSA has a big practical campus, practical setup. You can see in this image that we have a really good place for practical. We got 3000 plus equipments and all those things. Yeah, those are the practical training that we provide. But uh, about that, okay, as an add-on, we you our students also get industrial visits. We have maximum industrial visits because our area, the location of our practical campus is in Chhattisgarh, Korba. So that area, that location is an industrial. There are so many industries around there. So we are really fortunate, and our students are really lucky that they get to visit so many industries. And our trainer will train you practically. When you get industrial exposure, when you go to an industry, you will see that how big an industry is and how difficult it is to find each and every, identify each and every hazard, and to cover all these things in a risk assessment. Of course, as I already told that your risk assessment must be sufficient, right? So in order to be sufficient, you will look at the industry, that the industry or the workplace is so big and you can't cover it in a single risk assessment. Then our trainer will train you on all these things practically, right? So when you once you will get to see the hazards, the your perception will also increase. That means that your risk assessment indirectly will be effective, will be more effective than you are uh, when you are doing it after reading the theories. It will be more effective when you will do practically, when you visit an industry practically, when you see the all those work processes going on in a construction site or in an industry. You will be able to see that uh, the how much severe the consequences can be if an accident happens. Okay, so the consequences, likelihood, all those things, a trainer will be explaining you, a trainer will be training you on those things. So because of this, you know you are not only getting theoretical knowledge, but also you are also getting industrial exposure over here, and you are preparing your risk assessment. You are learning about risk assessment while visiting industries. So that's a big point, that's a big advantage for you, that's a big benefit for you. It will improve your ability to make a risk assessment, create a risk assessment form. So it will help you understand what damage a real accident can cause. In short, it will improve your risk perception. It will teach you to make your risk assessment that is suitable according to the workplace, and it will also help you to understand what you should involve in your risk assessment to make it effective, how much area you should be covering while creating a single risk assessment to make it sufficient. Okay, so now when you are visiting an industry, of course there are five basic steps when it comes to risk assessment, when it comes to creating a risk assessment, making a risk assessment. But that's not all, right? There are like for different industry, in different factories, in different industries, there are different type of hazards. So you can't make same risk assessment for every industry. Okay, you can't just copy paste everything for different industries. So there are different type of hazards and you have to deal with those hazards in a different way. So your risk assessment will be according to your workplace. That's why industrial visits are important. When you look at industries, hazards, and the risk potentials that you find over there, you will be able to identify the hazard, and you will make sure that you are focusing on that particular workplace and not only on your imagination, or not only on your own imagination or prediction. Okay, so that was all for today. I think I have covered up really important things that you should be covering in your risk assessment. Okay, so you make sure your risk assessment is not only a sheet of paper, but it should save lives. It should save your people's life, everyone who is on the workplace. So make sure you check out our channel, our GIFSA International. We are providing you with practical training and industrial visits. That's a really good opportunity for you. And thank you for watching this video. If you like the video, uh, make sure you like it and make sure you subscribe our channel. That's all for today. Bye. Thanks for watching this video.